Hi guys, Howard here with adding jazz flavor to your blues guitar solos, okay? So what I'm going to do here is just a simple 12 bar blues using three chords, A minor 7, D minor 7, and then E7 sharp 9 for the 5 chord, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to base it around the blues, of course, so the blues scale will be a big part of it. But I also want to get inside the chords by landing the major thirds, maybe some arpeggios, octaves, using passing tones, etc. All devices that are used in standard jazz and jazz blues playing, okay? So I'll just play the solo first, and then I'll break it down phrase by phrase. There'll be 8 phrases in all, and I'll play them nice and slow for you with the tab on the screen, but also I'll talk about why I chose them and how you can employ them in your own playing, okay? Okay, so let's dive right in. The first phrase is really simple. It's just a simple blues lick based on the blues scale right over that A minor 7 chord. Nice and slow. And then we move into the second phrase, which is quite a bit longer, okay? But it brings in a lot of that jazz element. Passing tones, or what I call using tones that are outside of the scale, kind of dipping into each note, which sounds pretty cool. So it starts out like that and then quickly weaves back into the blues scale. So let me play that one nice and slow. And all of that, of course, is played over an A minor 7th chord, as is phrase 3, which is... Now, right there, I'll talk about that in a bit, but right there, it connects with the 4 chord, D minor 7th, and I incorporate an arpeggio into that, okay? So let's talk about this first, okay? Once again, we're on an A minor 7 chord, and I'm playing an A minor inversion, and then what might be called an E minor triad, but I'm thinking of it more in relationship to the C major 7 chord, which is the natural harmony chord to the A minor 7th. And then outlining that A minor 7 chord again. So let me play that nice and slow. And then right there at the 5th fret on the A string, we are connecting with that D minor 7th chord. And I use an arpeggio for that, which is more of a minor 9th sound. A minor 7th would be, but I'm playing, giving it that nice kind of minor 9th sound. So let me do that nice and slow as well. So putting all of that together, we have... And then staying with that minor 9th sound, so that's a sweep off of the 10th fret across the first 3 strings. And once again, connecting with that minor 9th sound and just playing some scale tones. And there's that jazz flavor again, playing a note outside the scale a half step away and sliding into it, just like I did here. That's a really nice thing to do. And right there it was 12 to 14 across the G and the D strings. And then a couple of double stops. I'm doing them a half step away, but you could do them a whole step as well. So that's a pretty long phrase. So let me play the whole thing for you, nice and slow. Right, and then up to speed. And then we are on to the next phrase, number 4, okay? Now we're still on the D minor 7th chord, which is important to note. We're still on the D minor 7th chord. And again, I'm kind of hanging with that minor 9th sound, okay? Although I do add the G, which would be a minor 7th toward the end of the phrase, but it's... Once again, we're still inside that D minor 7th chord. And then it's strictly a blues phrase. Right? And so what I'm doing is I'm kind of looking at the blues scale in a different way. Allowing me to, put a little more flavor into it. But it starts on the flat 5. This whole lick emphasizes the flat 5. So let me spell that out. Now I consider all of that one phrase, okay? I consider this all phrase 4. So let's move on to phrase 5, okay? Phrase 5 is more of a standard blues thing. You can think of Stevie Ray Vaughan and a lot of players like that. But the phrase is... Alright, so there's some hybrid picking in there. If you isolate the notes, the D string and the G string, it's... barring at the 5th fret and adding that to the G string notes. And then I play a simple phrase. And I like to do that kind of thing. That's kind of like Jimmy Page, but it's cool to play a phrase in an octave lower or an octave higher and then switch it up, repeating the phrase. So that is... And then we move into phrase 6, which takes place over the E7 sharp 9 chord. And what I played there is... So what I'm doing is just getting right inside that chord. If you look at what the chord shape is, I'm playing to the major third of the chord, which would be right there, back to the root. And then, and a couple of double stops. And what I'm thinking about there is an E7 chord, and then the E7 sharp 9, kind of decorating both. One more time, nice and slow. And then, of course, we're moving backwards through the progression off of the 5, back to the 4, and back to the 1. And I play a string of octaves there. Octaves are obviously classic to jazz guitar playing, but I'm kind of separating them out with a little glissando, if you will. So what I'm doing there is obviously just octaves. I'll play it nice and slow, but again, kind of glissing, if you will, off of that high note. connecting once again with a simple blues scale at the end. So, and I'm using alternate strokes, obviously down, up, down, up. And a simple double stop at the end. Once again, a half step away from where you might normally be. Sliding from 4 to 5 on the B and the G strings and glissing off of that, okay? And so the last phrase, phrase 8, just incorporates a little bit of chromaticism. And of course you can use all 4 fingers if you want to. All right, so let me play that one nice and slow. So there you go, adding a little jazz flavor to your blues solos, okay? I'll run the solo again right now, and so you can just check it out again without having to spin back, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, all the best to everyone, and I'll see you guys real soon.